Hello, I am Cameron McGee, and I am building a kombucha brand in Arizona called Divini. And I wanted to start this series of me talking, like just no cut, just me talking, because I think the one thing that a lot of people aren't doing right now is talking. We're going through a pretty big loneliness epidemic right now, and I think it's caused by people unwilling to be vulnerable or be themselves. And I want to share the importance of that. I want to share that it's okay to say things that are wrong, and it's okay to say things that might seem unimportant. I think a lot of the times people think they need to say things with intentionality, but in reality, you just need to continue to talk. I think there's purpose behind being intentional with your actions, but then you think if you need to be perfect all the time, you're not going to say a lot of the stuff that needs to be said. My goal for this year is to ask as many questions as I possibly can to as many people as I possibly can that I meet throughout my life to better understand the world, because I think everybody is a little piece of this world, and getting to know everybody, you don't have to like them, but to get to know somebody is continuing to ask more questions. And I think developing a better question asking system, this is kind of like a Jordan Peterson mindset, is super important, because then you kind of get through that nitty gritty of any small talk. You go straight to it. I think a lot of the times people get into the habit of just asking very surface level questions because they're scared of being rejected. But I think in the most horrible way possible, it's quality over quantity, or quantity over quality in some cases, because of the fact that you're gonna meet a lot of people in life, and you got to be okay with someone not liking you, and there's gonna be a very small select people that will stick with you for the rest of your life. You'll have them forever. And if you're fortunate enough to have two, if you're fortunate enough to have one, if you're fortunate enough to be able to have one for a short time, a person that really gets you, it's super important. If you can have a person that just gets you, that's the goal. So yeah, I think a couple things I want to talk about is entrepreneurship. I'm currently building a brand in Arizona, and it's really hard to build a brand in Arizona because of the fact that I think a lot of our culture is surrounded by relaxation, and there's a lot of older money here, especially in Scottsdale. So it ends up being really, really hard to connect with somebody, because we're not really me and my co-founder were both pretty scrappy, and so a lot of the people were brought up from having a financial stability to be able to just live and do their work. And I think I've seen a lot of videos recently kind of talking about the music industry, all the rich kids are able to do their music career, or people that already have the connections, because they can live their life while they're building. And I think in Arizona especially, it's hard because the people I'm surrounded by they're building something. There's some entrepreneurship here, but they have a lot of financial backing that allows them to be sane. I think one thing about being crazy is you'll know if you really are crazy if you figure out how to fucking afford your life while you take no money and you build something from the ground up because you believe in a message. You're literally just believing in a message. So yeah, that's our thesis of our brand. We live intentionality. We're a honey kombucha, so it's good for your gut health, your mind. And it's been really interesting to you see all these entrepreneurship videos, and you never know if their information is true or not, and then you go and apply it, and you find out that a lot of the information is true, but it's a little bit unrealistic at certain stages, especially in the beginning. I think the beginning, not much works besides just go, you know. I think that's the only thing that works, is just to go. And if you are capable of just going and not really thinking about the consequences or the, you know, the outcomes, you get to a place where you can actually start controlling the business more. Because at first it's, I think of a business kind of like a child. Like it, you know, you raise it, you have no control over your kid. It's gonna just do what it wants to do, and you have to act upon its actions. So that's how it is. It's just a kid running around, you know, crazily. And eventually, you know, the kid stops and wants to talk. And then you discover what really is the business, you know, as it continues to express itself. It's a person. It's literally like a person. Like it's so funny, like how that kind of works. Like the business becomes something more than you. And right now, the business has stopped. It hasn't talked to us yet, but we're hearing whispers. You know, that's where we're at with the business. And we just got a Sprouts deal, which is super sick. Sprouts is a super tight-knit community of people, and I think it'll be really good for our drink. Our drink is just super good for you. Full transparency. It just has so much good about it, and I love it. It's kind of like my whole thesis for life, like being real, intentional, you know, performative. Like we're not performing for anyone, we're just saying what we believe in, you know. A lot of people just kind of spew nonsense out into the world, expecting people to, you know, kind of reciprocate it back. And if you don't speak with, you know, that realness and your vulnerable self, even if you're wrong, like people won't want to connect with you, you know, on a real level. I've also been noticing, I've been saying, you know, a lot, and I've been trying not to do it, but it's just been happening. I think I had somebody in my life recently, and I can't pinpoint who, that causes me to say things or say that phrase. And that actually segues right into like the fact that like you are who you surround yourself with. And I've been fortunate enough recently in the past couple of years to be surrounded by really different people, like people that think completely differently than I ever thought I would ever meet in my life. And my sphere before was very like creative, and I do miss them a lot. I am a very like weirdo creative person, and this sphere I'm currently in doesn't really get that. Like they do, but they don't. And you could tell, you know, you could tell. So I always have like a little bit of disconnect, but they're so interesting to talk with and learn from. I've been very guarded recently, and a lot of walls are up, and I've been breaking them down slowly to allow myself to be more me, because I think that is who I want to become. I want to be just me. And a lot of the times I'm being somebody that is not fully me, and I want to be that person for my future children. I think my being and my person lives for my future wife and my future kids, you know. I think that that is why I do things. I don't know who that will be, and I don't know when that will be, but I know that when it does happen, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be sick. I currently I'm in Arizona, and Arizona is such a funny place because it's so hot here, and nobody really wants to do anything, but they're forced to go out and do things and kind of just like suffer through it and enjoy it. And I think there's a lot of resilience in Arizona, but Arizona really is like, is not the best place to build something because of that fact. Like, there's always like a tension whenever you're like going out to do something, because there's a lot of traffic, it's really hot, and the best time of year when it hits winter is dope. There's a lot of tourists. It's a little busy. It's a little more busier than it already is now. But the good thing about a lot of the local people there, they're super resilient, and they're very hardworking. They might not be working on necessarily the most positive things, but they are hard at work. And I try to move away to New York City like 3 years ago now. No, I think it's 4 years ago. And I'm so glad I didn't, because I ended up meeting my co-founder. We were literally like, because I'm a photographer. Before Divinity, I was a professional photographer. And I met him on a golf course randomly by shooting a video with his friend. His friend was wearing a dress for a fantasy football match that he lost, and I was making a whole video out of it. And he brought a couple samples of the old product that we had, and I loved it, and I loved him, and we ended up connecting later down the line, and eventually became co-founder and partners, and we're fucking cooking. But yeah, I think right now, maybe I'll even title the video this, is being more vulnerable, like even talking to the camera right now and just expressing, you know. There's a lot of good in that, and it's good to just talk, even if it's essentially to myself, because yeah, it's good to talk. It's good to get things out, and writing things down is helpful, but not as much as talking. I've honestly been looking for maybe even more people that I could talk to on a deeper level more, because obviously I could talk to myself as deep as I'm doing right now, and whoever's watching this gets the benefit of that. And I really applaud people that can just go out there and just speak to tons of people, and it'd be exactly like Tony Robbins is extremely inspiring. Like, I don't know how he does it. He just knows how to absolutely capture people's emotions just with his words. And I think a lot of the times he's very theatrical, but what he's saying is good. And honestly, that's what matters. Like, it's good for people to hear. And I think that's the most important part. I want to end this off with like a little bit of a closing, like the overarching theme, and I want to continue to do these, is to be more vulnerable and express what's currently happening in your life. And what's currently happening in my life is I'm trying to build the biggest kombucha brand in the entire world. And I hope that that is the title of the final video of this series. I built it. But yeah, just be more vulnerable, everybody, and be real. Absolutely. Thank you.